I need to just need to let Will know that we're out now. He's the first, community day first.
Community first.
Do you have Will's? I'm gonna send you Will's number so you can text Will when we're done, getting near done with community day. It won't be long. Okay, so, we have just come out of executive session. It is 8:10. I made the motion to exit executive session. Trustee Woods seconded, and we all voted in favor. No decisions were made in that. No votes were taken, in that session. Should it go through to you, Greg? There's not,
No.
there's not much to talk about on community day because Jeff gave a pretty thorough, write-up. I was worried that things weren't moving forward and we were getting close. But they've been able to fundraise, they've got the bouncy castles ordered, the porta potties ordered, working on food and drink vendors. The attempt to get community groups engaged by doing it earlier in June has not gone the way they hoped, but they're not giving up yet. My question to you was, they have additional funding that they're willing to put toward overtime for the roadways and facilities crew, and I'd like to go back to having them come in and deal with two of them come in and deal with the garbage, once in the middle of the event and once at the end. And yeah, so some of their fundraising can go toward that.
Given what you and the rec chair described of how it was on you all to do trash, and that they're able to cover it with fundraising, I think that sounds like a great idea.
Okay, any other comments? All right, I will let Bugsy and Jeff know. Bugsy's trying to find someone who's available that day. Okay, now we are ready to go on to he's on our way. So you have in front of you the recommendation. I'll explain as best I can. Will be able to answer detailed questions once he joins. So we did go to bid. All of the bids we anticipated about $1.5 million. All the bids were a bit higher than that. We had several responses that were clearly not qualified for the scope of job. So they were knocked off pretty quickly. Northbrook was, let's see, where were they on the range? They were the third in terms of dollar amount, but believed by Han to be the best equipped and able to handle the project. Are we on? There he is. Hi, Will.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
I was doing my best to explain what you can now explain more fully about the bid.
Sure, we received what was it, 7 bids, which was a good turnout. Unfortunately, the 2 low bidders, the first one doesn't have the experience to do this type of project. He'd be way over his head doing this project, and we spoke to him about that, and he agreed. The second low bidder didn't have adequate references and also was missing parts of his bid package. So the third low bidder, Northbrook, has done numerous of these types of projects. They're the type of contractor you'd want doing this project. So being that they effectively are the low responsible bidder for this project.
Do you have any questions for Will, concerns?
Is just so I understand, are we likely to pay the total base bid or the plus alternate? Can you explain the 2 columns?
Sure, we included 4 alternates in the project. The base bid is all the work that we want to complete, and then the alternates are to get the cost to see what it would cost to do some additional work. The first alternate was replacing instead of putting back a concrete road, putting back an asphalt road. Right now out there's the road base is 12 inches of concrete with a thin layer of asphalt on top of it. And it was to see how much of a savings it would be to go back with the asphalt. Instead of the concrete road base, so you'd fill up the height with road base material, and then you put your 2 layers of asphalt on top of it. Then the other alternates in the project were the sewer replacement of the sewer going up the slope there. If we didn't
At homes, at
Up to-
62.
across the Holmes property, up the slope towards Mr. Ehrlich's property. That sewer's about would once we graded everything out and put it back the way it was, it would wind up being like an 8-foot deep sewer going down that slope, which is a pretty deep sewer, especially on that slope. And the sewer is it's still in functional condition, but it is an older sewer. So that alternate was to see how much it would cost to replace that sewer and bring it up higher, so that would be more accessible in the future. Being that we're already working on that slope, it's a tight working condition, so see what the cost of that would be. And then the third alternate was milling a larger portion of the existing asphalt down Fair Street and putting new asphalt back, so that way when the project is done and the contractor leaves, you have a nice even asphalt surface across a good section of Fair Street there.
You mean more toward the south, right?
It would be about from the entrance to the wastewater treatment plant to the north end of the park.
Oh, the opposite direction from what I was thinking.
Okay.
No, thanks. What's the process for deciding
That's what I was gonna ask next.
which, if any of the alternatives will be done?
Budget.
And sort of what we discover in the field, right? How complicated it is once you get the ground open.
I'm sorry, I thought the question was, how do you decide which alternates to go with? I'm sorry, what was the question?
That was the question.
Okay.
That was the question.
Oh, okay, then ultimately, kind of, it's the, you'd go with the alternate or not based on how much budget you have for the project. If you have the full budget to do the project, you do everything. You replace the sewer
Okay.
going up the slope, but if if numbers came in way higher than we anticipated, we would say, well, we just can't afford to do the sewer at this time, so we're gonna leave that part of the project out.
Oh, thank you. That's helpful. This resolution is for the higher amount though, so have we talked to the accountant and we have that amount available?
We bonded, Michelle bonded, in going through the process, tell me if I'm correct, Greg. She bonded more than 1.5 in anticipation of it being,
You need the resolution for the entirety of the project, because if you did choose to do all of it, you would have approval for it and record of it. If you don't do the rest of it and you only approve, right, if you want to do the whole thing, but you only approve 1.8, how are you gonna do the rest of it later?
but your question is about budget,
mean,
right?
No, his question is about the resolution, right?
But that's authorizing.
But
Up to.
this does not say up to. It says cost.
So we can modify the language of the
That's good.
resolution if we'd
Okay.
like. Any other questions for Will? Okay, my feeling about the slope. I mean, who knows what we're gonna find when we open that street, but it's sort of bananas to have it open and not address an existing issue. But I think, Will, can you also remind us what I know you've been debating back and forth the order of events for what portions you want to do first or make sense to do first. What are you thinking about that now?
We ultimately discuss this with the contractor when we get him on board, but the initial thought was to do the twin culverts, the part along Fair Street and under Fair Street first, because that has the most impact to the most people. Get that done before we move into or at least get as much of it as we can done before we move into the busier season as we approach the autumn. I know there's been, another recent issue with Mr. Holmes' property. He's been very patient with us about his recurring issue out there. So we might wanna, we'll talk to the contractor, maybe there's something to do there first. Make a little, do a more permanent, solution in front of his property. And then move on to the rest of Fair Street, or, move that part, essentially move his part of the project forward in the schedule, but we'll have to coordinate with the contractor on that.
So, Aaron, would you like to make the motion with the adjustments that you're,
Well, I just still have another question. It
okay,
wasn't
go ahead.
clear to me, that we can afford 1,878,320. I mean, if Michelle's looked at this and said, yeah, we can do it, I trust that, but she's not here, so.
So you couldn't have asked your question earlier in the day or earlier in the week when you had this in front of you?
I did not ask a question. I didn't think that's correct.
So, in my understanding, and I believe myself to be correct, is that we budgeted higher than the 1.5 million, knowing that we would probably have to make adjustments based on supply chain, based on in the field conditions. I think you all know Michelle well. She is very conservative in her estimates and her budgeting.
Do we know how much higher than 1.5 million?
Greg, can you answer that question? I can't answer it in my head.
I have no idea. I know that she went over the base bid with Will prior to Will making his recommendation. The funds should be available. And we're awarding a contract, we're not. So what is your apprehension, Aaron? Are you going to vote no on actually doing the project?
I'll vote when I vote, Greg. Okay, so
I'm gonna make
My-
a motion. Whereas on March 13th,
Talking, we're having a discussion.
and you know what, Eliza, we're kind of talking in circles.
I'm sorry,
What is your question, Aaron? What's your final question?
are we budgeted for
Yes,
one
we
point
are.
878 million?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Would you like me to look at the camera and say it? Yes, we are.
Okay, it's a very clear answer.
The following resolution was offered by me for adoption and seconded by Tweeps Phillips Woods, whereas on March 13th, 2025, the village issued a request for proposals for all labor, materials, and equipment necessary to replace deteriorated and collapsed drainage pipe along Fair Street in the village of Cold Spring, with other related work to include installing concrete sidewalks, concrete head walls, relocating utilities, pavement restoration, grading, as well as preparing, restoring, and cleaning the project site. And whereas 7 bids were received, with Northbrook Contracting Corporation submitting the bid with best value. Therefore, it is hereby resolved that the village awards the bid for necessary repairs and improvements to Fair Street at a cost up to 1 million, so there is a correction of up to $1,878,320 to Northbrook Contracting Corporation. So a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, trustee Starbuck,
Hi.
trustee Woods,
Aye.
trustee Primark,
Aye.
trustee Bozzi,
Hi.
Mayor Foley.
Aye.
I believe the ayes have it.
Michelle is always available to answer questions either via email or via phone, so it's more effective to ask questions ahead of the meeting.
Did we get this resolution ahead of the meeting?
Was it in the packet?
The
I did not
the
have it.
resolution was not in the packet, but the award recommendation has been in the packet since last week when Will sent it to me.
So Erin, if there's something missing from your packet that you feel that you should have, when you get the packet and you don't see it, as Greg says in every email that he sends out to the board, any concerns or questions, please contact me. Raising it now is great dramatics for the camera, but it's not helpful.
I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to be responsible.
I'm just letting you know that being responsible
And the
means doing what
trustees-
everyone else does and ask the questions ahead of time and showing up to a meeting prepared.
I would
We're
be
moving
very
on
happy to
now
be
to a
prepared. We
recommendation
received
for
an
a tree
agenda
watering
for the
bid.
meeting.
Erin, you had an agenda on Friday. Okay, so the tree advisory board put out an RFP for watering trees. It's a very hard job for, it's mostly Jen who does it by herself, and we have, I don't know, 40 new trees at this point, 35 or 40 new trees. So she put out a bid for watering. There were few responses to the bid. It was in your packet. She is recommending Cedar Hill Property Maintenance in the amount of $7,280. And as a reminder, 75% of this work will be funded by the Cold Spring Colonnade Grant Project. And 25% through general fund tree lines. Would someone like to make a motion? It's not a resolution, it's just a vote.
Are we authorizing you to, or are we authorizing her? Or
Accepting the bid.
Accepting the bid. Go ahead. I make a motion to accept the recommendation for the award of the tree watering bid.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now Erin, we're gonna turn the Civic Plus conversation to you. Thank you for following up with Civic Plus and moving us forward on website upgrade.
Sure, so I think the board is familiar with the basics of this, but just to review our website. This is a recommendation to move forward with an upgrade that our service provider is recommending for our website. It'll re-platform our website, move all the content to the new website. It'll be a new homepage and a new design. The costs will increase a little over $1,300 a year. So the background of, but they'll migrate all of the 5,000 or so pages and documents that are on there right now. This is important to do something here because our system has been in use since 2019. And it is, the content management system is end of life. It's been end of life for a while. It's actually not getting any security updates at the moment. And our host will only keep it running into November. So it's important to get started in moving this forward. Along with some of the staff here, we looked at various different alternatives. This turned out to be both the easiest contractually because it's a contract that we already have with our provider. So we didn't have to recontract. And the cheapest because they're not charging us a one-time fee, which is really common when you do a re-platform like this. Okay. So there's a lot of benefits to this new system. We've received an introduction to it and looking at the back end. It does have things like a single database for all of the agendas and minutes and even videos that can be looked at for all of the boards at once or filtered by any particular board or committee. So modern features like that. It also has a way for our residents or actually anybody who's interested to subscribe to new content. So if somebody wants to say, hey, I want to know whenever the planning board gets a new application, a resident can subscribe to that and get notified by text message or email when something's new there, whether it's an agenda item or a new application or things like that. There are some other features like a form builder that our current system has and it's used very inconsistently. We'll be able to build new things on this using that if we want to. But the clerk and I have agreed that the main thing is just to move the content over first. The second step would be to reorganize the content that's there because the move would not also reorganize. And then the third is to see, let's build on top of this if we want, if there's any patience left after we've done those two things. Any questions about this?
Have we budgeted for that $4,086?
Yes, yeah, the treasurer did receive these estimates
Did she
before the
approve them?
budgeting. Sorry?
Did she approve them before the meeting?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
And then we'll need to budget for it's a 5% annual increase.
That's right. That's right, but the contract only starts in October. Okay, so this would be the right amount for the current
Understood.
fiscal year.
Which is recognizing the
Mhm,
cost increase.
that's right.
The work begins before October, yes.
Well, I hope the work ends in October.
Okay,
actually,
just
yes.
making sure.
Yes,
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion? That this desperately needs to be done.
um, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the statement of work from Civic Plus to begin work on updating our website.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you. Every year Bugsy attends the School for Highway Superintendents at Ithaca College. It's hosted by the Cornell Local Roads Program. He has made that request. We have budgeted for it. It's $125 registration and lodging, which is usually like, I don't know, $225 a night or something. It's 2 nights. So I would make a motion to approve the highway superintendent to register for the highway school and attend.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
And I have sent the IMA for the towns and county highway sharing to the village attorney to review. Okay, the next is Cold Spring Film Society park dates. They had originally wanted to start on earlier in their planning, they had wanted to start on the 21st of June. Community Day got planned. We didn't know the Film Society's thinking. They did try to work with the rec commission to see if they could have opening night work with community night, but they just need more room to set up than will probably be available to them. So they have graciously moved to June 28th as a start date. Every 2 weeks through the summer with rain dates, July 12th, July 26th, August 9th. Contract is otherwise the same. Any discussion? Make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the filming request, no, sorry, I make a motion to approve Cold Spring Film Society Summer 2025 Dockside Park dates.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
The next item. Greg has to talk you through. He had the conversation with Haldane.
Okay, so I actually spoke with Mr. Buda first. Craig Buda is from Base 12 Productions. He is a filmmaker. He interacted some time ago with Haldane administration and staff to have a workshop at the elementary level for the students on filmmaking and interacting and life in the entertainment sector. So his plan is to do that workshop next Tuesday, and as an extension of that, he would like to involve all of the kids in a short that he is filming here in the village, or would like to film here in the village on the Wednesday. That's why I'm getting the request so late, because he didn't realize that he had to ask for permission. One of the administrators at Haldane was able to inform him. So essentially, Mr. Buda would bring the kids that wanted to attend and their parents down to the bandstand at the Long Dock. And film what he's explained is a Halloween styled short. So from 3 to 7 p.m., he would use the kids and their parents as extras and part of the movie, essentially make it a community event, buy them pizza, have candy, as well as film his short down at the bandstand.
And you did discuss this with the officer in charge, correct?
Thus, with the officer in charge, he saw no issue with it, because they're confined to that small area. There's no stunts, pyrotechnics, or lighting to be concerned with. He didn't feel it to be a risk of any sort.
And didn't require an
He
additional officer.
didn't believe it required security or additional officers on duty. So
I'm assuming are we looking to waive the fee here?
I was gonna get to that, yes. Was also going to request that we waive the fee for this activity, as it is essentially a community event. It's an extension of activities going on at Haldane. It's going to involve Haldane students and their parents. And, you know, it's good for the kids.
I'm fine with that. Anyone else have concerns on that topic, on the issue of waiving fees?
And I'm a little concerned because when we waived the fee more recently, it was a student film and this is using extras. They happen to be kids and it's nice that he's doing something at Haldane, but it just seems an easy way to get around fees sometimes, but.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I'd like to make a motion to approve the filming request at the bandstand on May 14th. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Curious. With the fee waived, with the, yes, excuse, I will edit my motion to approve the filming and waive the fee. Is that okay with the seconder? Yes. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Are you abstaining? Or you, what would you vote?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Last is, camping request at Dockside. It started with New York State Parks. Croca Expeditions is a nonprofit wilderness expedition school and organic farm. And they take kids on boating adventures. And they contacted parks to ask about locations along their route where they could park. In this area, Evan preferred that they park at Dockside. This is something similar to the Clearwater overnight educational camping at Dockside. They aren't able to say exactly if they're kids paddling. So they estimate that they will be here. I have to go back and look at it. They can give us 24 hours notice, which the officer in charge was with, right? Their intended date of arrival is May 12th. But it could change a day or two depending on the weather or other factors. But they've committed to giving us a 24-hour notice. They don't need porta potties. They have their own human waste disposal system. No support vehicles. They'll be camping close to the boat slip, the put in at the north end of Dockside. And that's it. Discussion, questions, and also asking to have the fee waived as a nonprofit, which we have done for other overnight campers doing educational programs.
Sounds good to me. We usually ask for insurance.
There is insurance.
We have insurance.
Been received.
Very low impact. Probably wouldn't be.
Would like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the Dockside Park camping with classroom Croca Expeditions Charter School.
second,
All in favor?
I,
Our last item?
No, we do. No, and I'm sorry, then raise at the beginning, we have to approve bills. It's not on the agenda. Michelle asked me.
But you have reviewed, you have each reviewed? The
Yes,
bills?
they've been, yes.
motion to add the bills?
Yes, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Eliza.
So I make a motion to approve batch 7860 in the amount of $283,407.75. And with the note that this is a batch of 3 weeks of bills, not just 2, and includes over $170,000 of paving. So that's why it's a big amount.
Because our chips are coming out of our chips money, chips
Yep.
pave and pop money. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, off week. Okay, yes, motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.